José,
Hola, Juan.
¿tú sabes que hay un abogado? No.
Joder,
No.
justo, lo has hecho justo a tiempo.
¿Sabes que hay un letrado?
Juan, que vale igual.
Un leguleyo.
Ahí bien.
¿Sabes que hay un abogado que no es el que tengo? Que es. ¿Sabes que hay un abogado que está todo loco?
Bueno, solo uno.
Este está loco de más. Mira, este es un tío que ha estado en Rusia
Sí.
peleando contra Putin, ¿vale?
Ah,
Ha estado en Armenia, ha estado en Tanzania, ha estado en Uganda. El tío se va a países que son tiranías
sí.
y utiliza la ley. Sabes que en las tiranías hay una ley, pero no se cumple porque el poder lo tiene el tirano.
Ujú.
Pues este tío utiliza la ley de países tiránicos para pelear contra las estructuras tiránicas de esos países, ¿vale? Y se ha recorrido medio mundo. Un puto loco.
No se aburre, ¿eh?
Va a países de mierda.
Sí, ha quedado claro.
¿Sabes en qué país está peleando?
A ver,
En España.
¿cómo?
Está en España. ¿Y sabes qué es la institución que él considera que esto es propio de República Bananera y de Rusia o de cosas así?
¿Cuál?
La agencia tributaria.
Ah,
Es un pavo, tío, que es Bob Amsterdam, se llama. Robert Amsterdam.
buen nombre.
Y sí. Es judío y está peleándose contra. O sea, ha decidido que después de Rusia, Tanzania, Uganda, Armenia, Ucrania,
Ujú.
el país en el que tiene que luchar por los derechos humanos es España, porque Hacienda, según él, es lo peor que ha visto en su puta vida.
Un tío que ha peleado con Putin viene a decirnos que tenemos aquí. Hola.
Agencia tributaria, los inspectores, los bonus, bueno, en fin. Hemos estado con él en un hotel en Madrid y lo hemos entrevistado y os vamos a dejar aquí una entrevista que os va a dejar con el culo torcido y que publicamos ahora porque sabemos que estáis haciendo la declaración de la renta, todo el rollo este, ¿no? O sea, ahora que estamos en diálogo civilizadísimo con esa institución que siempre comprende tus circunstancias personales, vamos a escuchar una entrevista con el grandísimo Robert Amsterdam. La primera pregunta es, usted lleva muchos años enfrentándose a estados totalitarios que coartan la libertad. ¿Por qué?
Well, because as a young boy, I was visiting Russia under Brezhnev in the 70s. So I witnessed totalitarianism and realized that no human should live under those conditions, and dedicated myself to attempting to make political change. And that's what my life has been about. It hasn't been about money, sadly. It's been about my children and my work, which is political law. It is dedicated to weirdly freeing the oppressed. And we are very proud in the last few months. We got a ruling from the United Nations against Tanzania. We have my client Bobby Wine in Uganda. He is safe, thank God, and we are in the process of getting both Uganda and Tanzania expelled from the Commonwealth. A few weeks ago, I represent the church, the followers of Jesus Christ in Ukraine. And this is the old church that was accused of being pro-Russian. I had to go to Ukraine during the war. It's a huge fight, but the Ukrainian government has decided to stop persecuting the church. We're very grateful to God that this has happened. We're in Armenia today, working to assist a political prisoner who's running for the highest office in the land. Mm-hmm. We're also supporting the church in Armenia. For a Jewish guy, I've spent a lot of my time working for Jesus Christ. So we've spent the last 3 years doing a lot of work on the area of religious freedom. And unfortunately, I've had to meet with many priests who were tortured, beaten. The West, to some extent, has turned their back on religious freedom because everything is now securitization. It is Russia versus the EU, and the EU has given up many of its principles in order to fight Russia. And I view this as a very dangerous step, the departure away from rule of law.
La suya es una posición muy interesante porque usted es abogado, you are a lawyer, pero también es activista y usted utiliza las leyes de los países donde la ley parece tener poco peso para combatir el poder. Normalmente el poder en estos países, dado que se salta la ley, es difícil confrontarlo con esta técnica.
Listen, it's a very difficult position, but it's a very rewarding position because you get to choose the causes you want to fight for. You get to work with amazing people. I am a lawyer who fights for human rights, but I have a Canadian passport and an American passport, which means I'm not as brave as the Ugandans or the Russians or the Ukrainians who don't have that passport. So I spend my life dedicated to helping my colleagues in these countries who have incredible bravery at the risk of their lives.
Usted ha perdido a algunos compañeros en Rusia, si no me equivoco.
Yes, and I was arrested at 2 a.m. in Russia. And when I was arrested, I wasn't sure if I would live or die. When that happens, you get to stand in the feet of your clients. So I was very lucky that I was arrested in 2005 because by the next year they were killing people. And in 2005, they were just arresting and deporting people. So for me, the timing was lucky, but I had denounced Putin. I had called him a thief on Russian television while I was in Moscow, which was not the smartest thing to do.
Estamos hablando de países como Rusia, Tanzania, Uganda, Ucrania, Armenia, pero usted está hoy en España. Quería preguntarle cómo ha llegado aquí.
Oh, Spain is the worst. Wow. Spain is the worst. It's always very dangerous when you're in a country that thinks its shit doesn't smell. That when you're in a country that thinks, oh my God, we are the greatest thing on earth. We don't do anything wrong. You have a prime minister who lectures the world about human rights.
El fin de semana pasado, de hecho.
So he's going to shut down all trade with Israel. So I have a challenge for the prime minister. Mr. Sanchez, the first contract you stop with Israel should be the AI contract run by an Israeli company that is interfering with the private information of every Spaniard who is working for the Hacienda. Let's let that be the first contract that you break. Because what's going on in the Hacienda means that a prime minister of Spain cannot talk about human rights while his people live in fear every day. Unfortunately, with the knowledge that when the Hacienda knocks on the door, they have no rights. Because let's be clear, in Spain, under a tax audit, the individual, if he has any chance at all, has to wait 10 to 15 years. It is a shameful situation that is swept under the carpet. It reminds me of so many countries where their reputation is not so good. But Spain trades on a false reputation because, in fact, Spain is a dual state. And this is what our new book is about that comes out Thursday. It is a state where there is certainly a functioning judiciary a functioning police. But when it comes to the hacienda, when it comes to taxation, it is a state without the rule of law. The individual does not have the equality of arms that they're guaranteed. The individual gets assessed an amount of money from an auditor who gets a small piece of it, completely wrong, absolutely wrong. Then he has to pay the money with a penalty that's ridiculous up front. And then he gets to live the next 10 years of his life without that money and without those resources. It is completely shameful. And if he buckles, if he wants to negotiate, the hacienda's ready. They're willing to give him 30% off or 40% off, which is frankly the same thing as the mob. That's the mafia. They take your money, they take your kids, they take your wife, and then they want to negotiate. Well, that's what the hacienda does. And watching this and realizing that the hacienda is to Spain, I call it the North Korea of tax administration. What happens in Spain does not happen anywhere else that I know of. That doesn't mean elements don't happen anywhere else. But this terrible combination of elements does not happen anywhere else. And we think we know the reason. It's because in Spain, in 2011, the hacienda was split off from the economics ministry. So now in Spain, the head of the hacienda can only prove herself or himself by raising taxes and getting more money. And they're desperate to do that. They send out these carta avisos. Oh my God, they don't do that in Russia. They send out these letters. They overcollect their tax. That's not a positive, healthy sign. That's a sign of a captured state.
España es un país donde mucha gente cree que Hacienda somos todos.
That's lovely. That's absolutely lovely. In Jonestown, Guyana, before they drank the Kool-Aid that killed 900 of them, they thought they were all part of the same cult. And when you're part of a cult, and this is people who think that you are all the hacienda, obviously don't read the press. I mean, maybe they read El País, but I mean the press that's free. El País isn't free. It's part of Pravda. It's a state-run media now. But the free press, if you read the free press and you see what's happening with hacienda, or if you go on a train and you know you're taking your life in your hands because the trains are falling off the tracks, or if you read that the chief prosecutor's been convicted, half the cabinet is under investigation, the former prime minister is wrapped up with the former Venezuelan leadership, the corruption is to the sky, and public services are going down. We're not all the hacienda. The hacienda has been broken. And what we're saying is, fix it. Give a real taxpayer bill of rights. Structurally break the hacienda, connect it to the economics ministry. Our firm has received well over 600 different Spanish sob stories. Not rich people, many of them poor, many of them destitute. And by the way, we're not looking for clients. You know, I see today we were denounced by the Association of Tax Experts or something, which is really quite funny because I think they're embarrassed that it took a bunch of foreigners to come to Spain and say, this is really terrible. And now all of a sudden, they've found their strength and they're promoting some new taxpayer bill of rights, which I welcome, even though it's not very good, but I welcome this discussion. But the fact of the matter is, the hacienda is broken. The bonus system is unbelievably corrupt. The way the Hacienda operates is against the citizen.
Yo tengo la sensación de que en España cunde algo parecido al síndrome de Estocolmo, según el cual el Estado tiene cogido con una pistola a la sanidad y a la educación pública y dice, si no pagáis, le disparo. Y mucha gente se cree ese chantaje emocional.
Well, look, I had Stockholm syndrome in my third marriage. I know what that is. I think that in Spain, a lot of money is spent on PR for the Hacienda. Also on training children that paying tax is good. It's interesting because in Spain, there is the belief that without the Hacienda reading your private documents, fraud would escalate. No government on earth thinks less of their people than the Spanish government. If you read their crap, oh, there's fraud here, there's fraud there. I tend to believe a lot of this is complete bullshit. I think the fraud is them. They are the fraudsters, and they are defrauding the people of Spain. And the people of Spain don't have the resources, and they don't have the emotional strength to stop it. Let me tell you something. I go to terrible countries where people are in fear of their lives, but the lawyers, the abogados, they stand with me and they fight with me almost to a man. It doesn't matter what the risks. People like Karina Moskalenko from Moscow, when I was arrested, she came to me at 4 a.m. to defend me. Well, we didn't know what would happen to me. But in Spain, I went to see a friend of 30 years. I'm not a young guy. So I go to this friend of 30 years and I say, I'm taking on the Hacienda. I need help. And he goes, oh no. If I even meet you, I could be audited. My clients could be audited. My wife would leave me. I mean, fear like I've never seen in my life. In Spain, a member of the EU. Whether it's Stockholm syndrome or a cult, Spain has to wake up. You have an election, maybe. I mean, I don't know. This guy Sanchez, he doesn't have to pass a budget. Maybe you won't have an election. Sanchez is a lot like Donald Trump. He's completely inconsistent. He has no respect for the rule of law. It's funny that he's attacking Trump because he's very similar to Trump. So I have no idea. But if you have an election next year, it is a rare moment of opportunity to have structural change of Hacienda. Be careful. Don't listen to people who want to talk about the tax crisis, the tax nightmare, and who say, we're going to lower your taxes. That's bullshit. Don't fall for it. It isn't a matter of lowering your taxes. It's a matter of changing the structure and allowing you to fight without having to give up your firstborn. In my case, I might have given my firstborn, but that doesn't matter.
A nosotros se nos dice que otros países en Europa tienen una carga fiscal mayor que España. Y al mismo tiempo se nos dice que otros países pagan más impuestos que nosotros. La conclusión para mí es, en España no tenemos ningún tipo de cultura, no sabemos si pagamos mucho, si pagamos poco, ni siquiera sabemos cuánto tenemos que pagar.
Frankly, the issue of what percentage your taxes are is an important issue. It's not the issue. The issue is to pay your fair share of taxes. But if you're against an administration that motivates the people who are in the tax department to take whatever they can from you, then you're paying a hell of a lot of tax. Plus, you're paying penalties that exist in Europe, but rarely at the levels that Spain assesses. There's a lot of issues in Spain that I will leave to my Spanish colleagues. For instance, the issue of VAT for owner enterprises, which Spain is violating EU law every day by making them pay VAT when they shouldn't. There are so many of these technical issues going on that my partner in this, Chris Wales, would be better able to answer. But no country in Europe has the Spanish system. No country in Europe has the gun to the head the way Spain has. And to be fair, there is a clear perception in Spain that the value for money the taxpayer is getting is every year less and less. Sanchez raised 100 different taxes, and yet
Without the Congress.
without Congress. Oh, that's something else. I mean, again, our human rights guy here, don't call yourself a Democrat.
No.
If you're using royal decrees.
Royal decrees, and we have no budget.
3 years of no budget.
4 years.
4 years. Don't call yourself a Democrat. Don't lecture the world about human rights when you're in the situation of operating against rule of law.
Empezaste a luchar contra la Hacienda española con la ley Beckham. Creo que hay mucha gente que no sabe lo que es. Por favor, explícanos en qué consiste la ley Beckham y aquella trampa de los incentivos y luego la guadaña.
Look, the trap is you move to Spain, bring your family, set up a life here, and they approve you and give you a certificate.
Yeah.
And you think you're set.
The tributary agents.
Yes. And then years later, they operate on you.
Yeah.
And they hit you with penalties and fines. One guy tried to save $200,000 in tax. He is now dealing with a $3 million claim from the Hacienda. The most expensive attempt at saving tax you've ever seen.
Yeah.
We saw bad faith in the behavior of the Hacienda time and time again. And that's what opened us up to the whole structural problem. Because we couldn't understand the dirty games. The fact that the Hacienda was attacking people within days of the limitation period almost being up. And that's when we learned about the bonus system. That's when we started to get so many poorer Spanish people come to us. Policemen, retired policemen, who were trying to make a few bucks on the side and have their car seized by Hacienda. People in mental hospitals having their bank accounts seized. There's a level of cruelty and ongoing aggressive conduct leading to the publication in newspapers of people who were bad people for non-payment of tax that has no place in the 21st century. And now, in addition to all of these horrors, you have AI, which is going to give the tax...
De facto, ¿no?
Yeah, well, it's going to give the tax authorities so much more power, so much more leverage against individual taxpayers.
Yep.
Because in that case, when that comes in, you'll be paying VAT before you get paid. I mean, it's outrageous. And yet, people suck it up here. I just don't understand it.
En España existe un tabú, es de psicología social este asunto. La gente cree que criticar a Hacienda por sus excesos, por sus maniobras, por los inspectores, por la impunidad que tienen los inspectores, significa criticar el sistema público, los servicios públicos, la sanidad, la educación, etc. En España, la gente no critica a Hacienda porque cree que están tirando piedras en su propio tejado.
Well, there's a psychology of fear.
¿Ya?
Well, that's why we're here. And that's why we do these ads that Hacienda's apoplectic about. Because by putting it out in the media, we've managed to stir debate. 2 years ago, there was nothing in the media. Now, every day, there's 5, 10, 15 articles about Hacienda.
Yeah.
And in fact, Hacienda is losing in court half the time when they finally get to court.
Yeah.
You know, cases like Ana Duarte and others. But again, the Ana Duarte case...
Ana Duato y Manuel Arias, que no fue a juicio, lo jodieron.
Yes. And
Go on.
it's shameful that in Spain, like the bullies,
Yeah.
They, you know, if you do very well, if you're a big celebrity, then you know they're going to screw you. Whether you're Shakira or Messi, Spain is a country that goes after the scalps because they want to inspire fear. That's why they have these carta avisos. It's all part of a psychology of fear.
Yeah.
And what we're saying is that's unhealthy for the country. The Hacienda should not be alone. It should be part of an economics ministry because you are killing your business leaders. You are killing your small and medium business in this country every day.
¿Y tu clase media?
And the middle class as well. And that's happening, by the way, in many countries, but Spain is the worst because of the behavior of Hacienda.
En términos de totalitarismo, Hacienda tiene tres elementos en España que conectan con la obra de George Orwell. Primero, vigilancia absoluta, conocimiento absoluto del Estado sobre tus cuentas, tus movimientos. Segundo, imprevisibilidad. Puedes estar haciendo algo legal y de pronto resulta que es ilegal y tú no lo sabes. Incluso de forma retroactiva, eso es lo que hizo Montoro. Y tercero, el señalado por Hacienda en la prensa se convierte en el enemigo del pueblo. Todo el mundo le odia.
Our new book.
Yeah.
Our new book is called The Dual State.
Yeah.
And the first dual state book was written about Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
So the totalitarian theme is one we understand. And to be frank, the psychology in Spain is frightening. And the level of control that will be exerted once AI is truly in power is absolutely a nightmare for Spanish citizens. And that's part of why we're screaming at the top of our lungs now, because this next election, it may be your last chance, because the fear is only going to be 10 times worse once AI truly kicks in and everything is exposed.
Bob, I don't think we have alternatives because we can choose between Partido Popular, Vox. We don't have alternative in politics. We know the other party will do it the same.
Well,
so what can we do in the future?
What we can do is form associations. I know there's a taxpayer association that was formed last year in Madrid. Yep. Form associations, lobby the political parties and say, you won't get our support unless you do X, Y, Z. And our book and our next book has the whole platform. So we will write out the platform that leads to some level of equality of arms. And we believe that plus the merger of Hacienda into an economics ministry will change the psychology of Hacienda. And to change the psychology of Hacienda, you must get rid of the bonuses. The bonuses are the cancer, the absolute cancer in the system that must change. Pay the auditors more, but get them off the bonus. Once they're off the bonus, the world changes. The light comes out. And I give us credit for screaming about the bonuses, because that is, we have identified the cause of the cancer.
Why the bonus is the cause of the cancer? Because we have a lot of problems. Like the people in politics in Spain, the state is huge. They need a lot of money for.
But the bonuses pollute the culture of Hacienda.
Why the bonuses
because
so important?
Because they are the coal mine face. They are the interaction with the people. And while the auditors are getting the bonus, their thought is not on fairness or equity. Mm-hmm. Their thought is, how much can we get?
Yeah.
And while that is the perception, the treatment of the citizen is reduced. The citizen is not a citizen. He is just a supplier of revenue that they need, because their salaries have not increased for years. They're desperate for these bonuses. And we have to change the system by ending the bonus, raising their income, providing a taxpayer bill of rights, merging Hacienda with an economics ministry, so that the incentives for Spain's growth are tailored to how Hacienda behaves. And that's going to become necessary because Spain operates in a competitive environment. There are other countries trying to lure big money. Italy has just changed their entire system. So Spain is not operating alone. So it has to be competitive. The Iran war is opening up massive opportunities for Spain, but Spain can't grab them if everyone understands there's no certainty of legal obligation here. If you have a 2,000-page manual to fill out your goddamn tax return, it's pretty clear that there is no legal certainty in anything you do. People, especially foreign executives coming to Spain, are bright enough to spot that.
Hacienda ha respondido a sus críticas con otras críticas, ha intentado desacreditar su trabajo. ¿Qué responde usted a las críticas que se han hecho desde Hacienda?
Listen, I take it as a great compliment. When authoritarians yell and scream at you, you know you're fucking with them. If we're not having an impact, they're not doing that. When I was going after Putin, I was all over the press, but he never said a word about me because he knew that the minute he says something about me, he elevates my profile.
Yep.
So Hacienda has done me a great service. I thank them completely because before they wrote that letter to everybody to discuss what a shit that I was, we weren't well known. But now we're getting stopped on the streets. I'm hoping for more criticism.
And what's your response to the
My response to the Hacienda is stop fucking lying. You're lying to everybody. You're telling people that it's a 1.8% bonus. You're telling people...
And this is a lie.
It's a lie. It's a complete, utter bullshit.
How do you know?
Because, thank God, Chris Wales, who works with me, does the math. We know what it is. But Chris Wales, my colleague, 7 years ran taxation for the United Kingdom. He's a pretty bright guy. He's writing the tax policies that I work with. He's a genius. I mean, Hacienda, we went to the Spanish government at the beginning of this, and we said, meet with us. Let's collaborate, because this is a terrible system. Nothing. All they've done is silence, criticism, and then, guys like today, this organization of tax audit experts, criticize us because those tax experts are captives of Hacienda. They want to get points from Hacienda for criticizing us and saying stupid stuff like, yeah, what you're saying may be right, but it shouldn't be you who's saying it. Well, that's goddamn stupid. If somebody's saying the right stuff and seems to be on the right track, you should join them. You shouldn't criticize them. And, everybody's trying to figure out, well, what's your motive for doing this?
Yeah.
Well, our motive's really simple. We'd like to change the system. We have clients who have been deeply and badly affected. But, in 2013, I won the World Pro Bono Advocacy Prize because I took on the UN in Africa and beat them and proved that they had been in a conspiracy with Robert Mugabe. We're not going to stop in Spain. We're going to keep yelling and screaming, whether the clients we have keep us or not. And by the way, we're not taking on... I mean, if you look at the kinds of cases we do, we have no interest. We're not here with a tin cup looking for new clients. No, we want to just change the system. Thank God we're very busy. We represent the government of the Congo. We're taking on Apple. We represent the church in a number of countries. Thank you, we're very busy. We simply want to ensure that other people are not targeted like our clients and we want to improve life for our clients because, I'm 70 years old. If all I do is fight these cases in the court, I'll be dead by the time it gets to a rule of law court, because we know that the tribunals have already been ruled by Europe to not be rule of law courts. So, the fight legally is going to take decades. So the political fight, and all taxation is political.
Yeah.
I did the Yukos case in Russia. That was an entirely political case based on taxes. The case of Hacienda is political. All of these excess revenue, we know where it's gone. All you have to do is read the paper, see what happened with all of these political figures who have been indicted, who are being investigated, and everything else. And, the problem in Spain and other countries is that there is so much news, and we are so polluted in our algorithms that it numbs you. You're left in a cotton ball. You're unable to get hard and fight. And guys like Sanchez profit from that because they can talk complete bullshit, and they look like guapos, they're good looking, and they get away with anything. So you have to call these guys out and say, you really know nothing about human rights or governance because your party can't pass a budget, your wife and your brother have been indicted. People with real moral responsibility would have resigned a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So, stop the bullshit, stop lecturing the world, and investigate what's going on in Spain with its own citizens.
Mm-hmm. Voy a hacer dos preguntas que gente de izquierda se estará haciendo si ve esta entrevista. ¿Está usted defendiendo a los ricos porque no le importan los pobres que viven de las ayudas públicas?
Let's be really fucking clear.
Okay.
I've been divorced 3 times.
Only 3?
Only 3. I have no interest in just defending the rich. Many of my clients are rich. Many of my clients are poor. I represent the opposition in many countries in Africa for nothing, and have consistently done so, which has left me at my age in a very shitty financial situation, which gives me a lot of power because there's nothing for anybody to take. After 3 wives and 6 kids, you've got shit. So, come get me. I'm banned in 7 or 8 countries. I can withstand all of the attacks. After 3 ex-wives, you can withstand anything.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a superpower. So let them criticize me. I find it funny.
But in Spain, many people think tax is wealth for poor people.
Let me tell you that that's bullshit. The most important human right is dignity. And I will tell you that there is no human dignity in benefits.
Yeah.
That's not how you teach your children. Mm-hmm. That isn't how your children grow. When I work in really poor countries, it is the poorest people who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to develop benefits for their family. So, by the way, the Hacienda is much more cruel to the poor than the rich because the poor can't afford lawyers. So in so many ways...
This is a very important point.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, of the 660 people who have called us, probably 400 are poor. Broke. Nothing to their names because the Hacienda has screwed them blue. So our campaign is for everyone. I think the fact of the matter is, occasionally, you get rich people who are willing to fund fights that benefit everyone. And some of the people I've had the opportunity to represent have been people like that, who have the money, but say, fight for everyone. Mm-hmm. And, it's a great blessing when you're paid. I've said in my church fights, I've been paid, and it's a great blessing that, you know, when I'm risking my neck in Ukraine, I have something to show for it financially. But if they wouldn't pay me, I'd have still finished the job. So, you know, my point is, and it's funny about lawyers, in any other profession, nobody would comment about your being paid. You don't go into a taxi and say, you know what, I don't feel like fucking paying you today, but take me over here. But when it comes to a lawyer, all of a sudden, hey, he can't be sincere if he's being paid. Well, is that what the taxi driver says? When I was a kid driving a cab, if somebody said, you know what, just take me, but no money, I'd say, go to hell. So it's the same thing with lawyers. You can see life as you do when you're 70 in multi dimensions. And I don't see any difference between the rich and the poor. I see everyone wanting the best for their children. And I think that's the human right of dignity. And you don't get dignity on benefits.
Estamos a punto de hacer la declaración de la renta, estamos haciéndola a todos los españoles en el momento en que se va a ver este vídeo. Muchos vamos a pagar, a otros les van a devolver. ¿Cómo describirías este periodo del año para los españoles?
Pretty fucking bad time. I would say to you that when you send the money, think about what we're saying about fairness, and think about what we're saying about the danger of being audited, because it's happened to me when you have no money and you're audited and you get hit for a massive amount of money, the damage it does to your psyche when you wake up at 3 a.m. and you're sweating and you have no idea how you get through the next day. And so many people in Spain will be going through with that because of Hacienda and because of the dangers of this type of authoritarian control. Have some thought about your fellow citizens. And also, as I said, you know, papers that don't cover the tax story, like certain papers we've discussed, El País, for instance, they are not doing the poor any favors. You know, there's this virtue signaling that Mr. Sanchez does about so many issues. All of these foreign policy things matter like SFA to the poor. I just find it amazing. There are so many poor people who need real help. And yet, so often it's the right who delivers it. You know, in Africa today, if you ask an African in Zambia or Zimbabwe, name me a Western leader who helped Africa, there's only one Western leader they'll ever mention.
And his
name is George Bush. George Bush led the world to destruction in Iraq, but he cured AIDS in Africa. Mm-hmm. He actually came up with a method of curing, distributing AIDS medicines at no cost, and he saved literally millions of lives. So I've always got a problem with the virtue signaling of the left. Yeah. And that's why I say that El País should come clean and talk about their actual position on Hacienda's disobeying the rule of law. Because be very clear, be absolutely black and white. Hacienda has absolutely violated the rule of law. Hacienda has absolutely engaged in conduct that were a business to do it, that business should come under criminal investigation. These carta avisos, are you fucking kidding me? How do you let them get away with it? How are you not outraged? Where is your manhood that you let these bastards do that? It's unbelievable. It is worse than anything Donald Trump could come up with. And yet these people in the Hacienda are celebrating this kind of bullshit. Imagine what they're doing with this AI. I don't even want to think
It's
about
a
it.
nightmare.
It's a nightmare, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I have to say that in this kind of interviews, Jose do the very last question. It's a privilege because he's bold.
So at the beginning of the interview, you have talked about some kind of agreement between Spanish government, Hacienda, and some kind of Israeli software company
Right,
of AI
right.
to benefit Hacienda workflow.
Right.
I mean, can you go any further about that? Is there a name of the company? Is there any paper signed?
I believe it's public. I'm not sure if Guidepost is the name. I'm not sure. I think Guidepost is one of the AI tools Hacienda is using. I don't know right now if it's Israeli or not. I know they've used an Israeli company, but the name escapes me. But I know they're using Guidepost. So listen, for Guidepost, I'm sure I hear the contract is 300 plus thousand. I'm sure it's, legitimate for them. The issue is the uses to which Hacienda will make of this. Because Spain has no guardrails. I mean, relative to other countries, there just are no limits to what the Hacienda will do with it. So as we know, very recently, Anthropic came up with an AI that is so scary that the US government isn't sure it can control it. So imagine what's going to happen when the Hacienda, who we already believe is engaging in all sorts of nefarious activity, gets their hands on even more sophisticated AI, which is why I'm saying this next election may be the last stand for people in this country. And that's why I think it's so important for Spanish folks to get together and it's a huge political issue. Whatever political party will grab at the Hacienda publicly and tap this well of fear will do very well. It's a great thing to argue. I know when I sit down and talk to business people here, they get emotional about wanting to see change.
Thank you, Manny.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Pleasure.